Hey, I'm back from Washington, D.C. I went to Congressman Cummings' office. I went to Van Hollen's office. And I even got some constitutions and some gifts. When I started this, we talked about the crown. When I started this, we talked about Governor O'Malley and the crown. That's my crown. Y'all ain't take it from me. It's part of being a king, man. And a king don't give up his crown easily. So I fought for all this. Y'all know the story of Job? Well, I just did my job. And my job was exposing the corruption in the courts under the 13th Amendment. So this is what I did with my day-to-day. It's part of my artistic form of activism. Proactive activism. Like I said, we're going to use film and art for activism in 2018. That's Mayor Kathleen Pugh. Senator Kathleen Pugh. Member of the Maryland Black Caucus. Alright? That award right there that she gave me, she gave it to me in 2016. This is the award. It's for my community activism and my service to the community. I feed the homeless. I go to Annapolis. I go to Washington, D.C. I fight for our people. I'm an unpaid lobbyist in the political arena. So my lobbying is about mass incarceration. My lobbying is about the 13th Amendment. It's about mass incarceration. It's about the illegal war on drugs. It's about patriotism. All right? I'm going to show you that the Constitution don't only work for white people. It don't work for black people. This is the Constitution. And I got all these copies of the Constitution because I'm going to give them out. If you come to dinner and a movie, you get a free Constitution. If you come to dinner and a movie, you get a free Constitution, a free movie, and free food. All right? Like I said, I went to Senator Van Hollen's office. They didn't do nothing for me. I asked for an interview. I asked for a speaking engagement. I asked to present my case to him about mass incarceration. They didn't want to talk to me. So I videotaped it, live feed it. All these individuals are in this movie and in this book. They're in this book. All right? And we're going to show you. Stand for something or you're going to fall for anything. All right? And that's me. But this is the killer part. Right here. This is the United States District Court on Lombard Street. That's Judge Bennett. Judge Bennett is a judge that sat on the gun task force case. All right? I respectfully asked for the grand jury. Yeah, I want the grand jury. You reading this? Because Mayor Pugh got this. The Chicago FBI got this. Like I said, the Department of Justice got this. See that? Richard McFeely. I don't want nobody left out the loop. NAACP. Chief Roberts of the Supreme Court. See, because I run this to Chief Justice Roberts in 2007. It was the Shorty program. It was about mass incarceration in the prison industry. And to present a case in front of the court, I got to do writ of certiorari. All right? You know what a writ of certiorari is? It's a special approach to the Supreme Court. And y'all got this. Respectfully to submit it to Honorable Judge Bennett. Dwayne G. Davis, political prisoner, community activist. All right. Governor Hogan got a copy of this. Bobby Zirkin got a copy of this. The Maryland State Judiciary got a copy of this. Delegate Valario got a copy of this. You feel me? Because I don't want nobody left out the loop. You gave me a community service award for a reason, and I'm showing you how I earned it. It's William Steele. It's about our history. And the Underground Railroad. My store was called Shorty's Underground Railroad for a reason. It was on Falls Road. It was a black man that owned the business on Falls Road. You feel me? That's Shorty's. That's Shorty's Bootleg Barbecue. So good, I'm illegal. That's my penitentiary number. Just like my slavery number. And that's my store on Falls Road, established in 1997. Like I said, the best of both worlds. Where's the beef? That's my son Philip. That's Shorty's Catering from 1997. I joke and play with customers. If they don't want to be played with, I don't bother with them. Then I don't bother with you. Like Dred Scott. That's property. That's a certificate of ownership. Shares of Shorty. Y'all want to talk about black businesses? Well, let's talk about black businesses. Because I'm a black businessman. I'm the president. I'm the chairman of the board. I'm the treasurer. I'm the secretary. All right? And I got a right to property. You feel me? A right to property covered under the Constitution. I'm also insured. So this is for Al Redmer. Brother Insurance violated my rights. They did insurance fraud. I was insured for terrorism, risking acts of terrorism since 2002. You charged me with terrorism in 2007. 2007, I was still insured by Insurance Incorporated. I was insured for over $1 million. That means that Insurance Incorporated should have paid me. You accused me of a crime I didn't commit, and you violated my insurance policy. Like I said, I was insured. You feel me? That's Bank of America. Like I said, Shorty's Underground Ribs. Shorty's Underground Rib Shack. That's my store on Falls Road. That's my Baltimore City residence. Dear valued customers, enclosed. Like I said, Schellenberger needs to be disbarred because he violated his oath of office. He knowingly presented false evidence in front of the grand jury to deny me my right to property, shielding the corruption in Baltimore County courts. Here go Bank of America. Here goes my complaint. You feel me? My catering. These are the forged checks. Because like I said, I was locked up in another state. These are the forged checks. And if I was locked up in another state, why was James Hammond taking rent for a building that I had no lease on? He relieved me of the property in February of 2008. But in June of 2008, you still cashing checks. And I was locked up in another state. Dred Scott, blacks have no rights in which white people respect. Block party gets bigger and better. Davis, who owns a barbecue business. All right, Davis, I own a barbecue business. That's Chief Justice Roberts. Because like I said, I turned this shit in a long time ago. It's about the courts and the corruption in the courts in Baltimore County and Baltimore City. Call it entrapment. But the book and the movie shows your corruption. That's from 2007, like I said, long before I got locked up. I started this in 2007. That's my store on Falls Road. My right to property. Davis versus Illinois. That's right. A writ of certiorari. Under Article 3 of the Constitution. Jurisdiction of the courts. City, county, state, and federal levels. I'm asking to access the grand jury or give me a writ of certiorari to access the Supreme Court. I got a right to property, and the state stole property. That's David Irwin. That's my store on Falls Road. That's 2007. Because like I said, I'm approaching the Supreme Court. Case number. I don't want nobody left out the loop. I was making a movie and a documentary. And the documentary was about our courts. And the corruption in the courts. Alright, this is a movie release. This is a movie release for Kathleen Pugh. This is a movie release for you, so you don't say that I blindsided you. So you don't say that I did something wrong. You gave me an award. I earned it for a reason. I earned it because the movie was about you and your politics. That's a movie release. Letters to Zion. That's a movie release to the Department of Justice, because I'm going to show the role that the Department of Justice plays. This is about exposing the corruption in the courts. A book, a movie, and a lawsuit. You wouldn't let me sue you, so I got to make the book and the movie. That's Governor O'Malley. Movie release. Movie release. Head State's Attorney Mosby. Because Mosby been blocking the grand jury and accessing the grand jury. See that? 2016. Mosby got this information in 2014. And she been shielding it. That's why she don't want to talk to me. But you're going to have to talk to me if you like it or not. Do your job or lose your job. Conspiracy means that you participated in the fraud. That means that you can go to jail too. Operation Greylord. It's about corruption in the courts in Chicago, Illinois in 1980s. All I did is revisited Operation Greylord, shook it out, and showed the corruption in Baltimore City and Baltimore County courts. Google it. It's a legal case and a good book. That's Judge Cox. You feel me? That's Judge Bennett. That's the letter that I wrote Judge Bennett. So we don't have no misunderstandings.
Close the door.
That's Chief Judge Turnbull. Like I said, this is about corruption in the courts and the courts. If we're going to change anything, we got to stop the corruption in the courts. Donald Trump just put another Chief Justice in place. So this is going to be very, very important. That's Greg Bernstein. That's State's Attorney Nairheim from Lake County, Illinois. Like I said, corruption in the court. And that's Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake. I don't want nobody left out the loop. Nobody left out the loop. It's about the 13th Amendment. It's about slavery reinvented. And I'm going to show you the politicians that enslave our community. Scott Schellenberger. He knowingly lied to the grand jury. He presented false evidence to the grand jury. The law says, clearly says, the Constitution, I have a right to property, I have a freedom of speech, I have a freedom of assembly. The law also says that I can't go into a public building or a public place and holler fire. I didn't holler fire. I didn't holler anything. I put a toilet in front of a courthouse. Scott Schellenberger said bomb. Scott Schellenberger said terrorist. But Scott Schellenberger inflamed the community. Scott Schellenberger needs to go to jail. If he don't go to jail, he needs to be disbarred. The same way that y'all disbarred Nafong from the Duke lacrosse team, y'all need to disbar Schellenberger. He needs to be brung up on criminal charges because he knowingly lied to the grand jury. He stole evidence. He manufactured evidence. And he lost the case. I'm innocent of all charges. And I want my property. Constitution says at the conclusion of a trial, if the person that was charged with a crime is found innocent, all of his property is supposed to be returned to him. If it isn't returned to him, he's supposed to be compensated for his losses. Schellenberger refuses to compensate me for my losses. I'm out $2.6 million, and I want my money. I want my property. It's under the 13th Amendment. It's the American way. That's the Chief of Police Johnson because he participated in the fraud. He stole the property. That's Judge Cox. Like I said, this is all about the courts. Judges, lawyers, and politicians. Bobby Zirkin, Chairman Valario. I'm going to get my testimony from Annapolis. I testified with Kathleen Pugh. I testified right next to you in Annapolis. So now we're going to do it in the streets. You feel me? That's Governor Hogan. Everything that Governor Hogan got, he needs to bring back. Like I said, I'm going in front of the Supreme Court. I want a writ of certiorari. It's about Dred Scott. I am Dred Scott. Blacks have no rights in America. Well, we're going to find out. And we're going to do it through the courts. Emails. Grand jury or the Supreme Court. That's what I'm shooting for. The grand jury or the Supreme Court. That's the county council. It's called checks and balances. See the date? See the people? Dwayne Davis, county council meeting, Schellenberger. I told you about Schellenberger. You don't want to do nothing about it. You don't do nothing about Schellenberger? Schellenberger going to snitch on y'all. And he's going to be the weakest link. Because I'm going with the law, the Constitution, and my service to my country. I'm a veteran to defend our country against all terrorists, foreign and domestic. Scott Schellenberger is a domestic terrorist. And he needs to be brought up on criminal charges. Maryland state taxes. I refuse to pay my taxes. If you don't defend my right to property, I'm not paying no taxes. Shorty on Falls Road. Shorty on Falls Road. May of 2007. That's President Obama. Senator Obama. Constituent services. Because I told my senators, my congressmen what I was going to do. I was exposing the 13th Amendment and how it abuses and hurts the black community. Whistleblowing to President Obama. Now, President Obama, that's your $2.5 billion class action lawsuit. You see what I'm saying? Property, the FBI property. This is 3 pages long. And that's Shorty from the Baltimore block. Constituent Services Office. And these are the supporters of Shorties. These are the people that support me. We're requesting that all state and local officials, I petitioned my government to address this issue of illegal incarceration. All state and local officials, the Constitution, I have a right to petition, and you were supposed to respond to that petition. You ain't responded yet. It's 2018 elections. This is 2007 ghost. These are voters and registered voters. They can vote in the elections, and they need to know who they voting for. You feel me? I am Dred Scott. Except this black man has white people standing up for his rights. We also imploring Indian and appropriate officials in the state of Maryland to assist Shorty in his efforts. That means you've been asked to assist me in my illegal incarceration. You've been asked to address this. The supporters of Shorties. See the names, see the dates? That's Ridge Road. These are people in Baltimore County that are here to stand up for my rights. Dwayne Davis, Peter Francott, Comptroller, Brian Frost, Attorney General. Yeah, my elected officials aren't addressing this issue. And it was given to you in 2016. Notarized. That makes it legal in any state. Any state, that makes it legal. A notary public is a legal document. And I have a right to represent myself. You feel me? That's the Department of Justice. I'm a whistleblower. And I just blew the whistle on the courts. And the corruption in the courts. Free Peter Francott. This is from 2014. Forged checks. Shorty's pit beef. That's me in Zion, Illinois. I'm that man from Zion. Anti-violence program. You want an anti-violence program? I gave it to you. Called Ceasefire. Like I said, it's the corruption in the courts. You can go directly to Judge Souter. Get everything out of my file in Judge Souter. It's got everything. Emails, phone calls, DVDs, got it all. Because like I said, the devil is in the detail. And if you got to fight the devil, you got to be a devilish individual. And I am that individual. I'm holding the courts accountable. Because you used the courts to incarcerate me. So I'm going to use the courts to free me. This is where you abuse the powers of the court. You charge me with these crimes. And I asked to go to trial with these crimes. You charge me with these crimes. And you charge me. That's the originals. All right? That's my property on Falls Road, and you charge me with trespassing on my own property. That's my property on Falls Road, and you charge me with theft. But you can't produce no evidence to contradict none of the evidence that I put in front of you. That's Schellenberger using his office and using his power of prosecutorial discretion to incarcerate black people in Baltimore County. These are the charges. I was found innocent of all charges. You feel me? Innocent of all charges. But you didn't take these charges. That's me. That's my Baltimore City resident. I had a business in Baltimore County. All right. Forged checks. Insurance Incorporated. And you can contact Sheriff Fisher. He got all of this. Because the sheriff is supposed to serve the evictions. I've never been evicted from nothing. Violations and statement of charges. James Hammond. Here goes my witnesses. Margaret Davis, Philip Davis, Cheryl Nelson. Homeowners Association on Falls Road. That was my property, and I haven't relinquished my right to property. The state illegally took my property, accepted forged checks to cover up the corruption in your courts. Dwayne Davis versus Baltimore County Police Department. Yeah, because you stole my property. I'm out $2.6 million. The property that you stole was valued at $54 million. I set the value of the property, not you. It was a movie. It was a movie about our politics. A $54 million movie. And I want my movie back. I want my property back or compensated for it. State of Maryland, case number. You got that? For all my legal eagles, for all my delegates, all my senators and congressmen, you're supposed to defend my right to property. I didn't break the law. Schellenberger did. Custodial records, Baltimore County Police Department. How did the Baltimore County Police Department lose a truck, a computer? How did they lose all of this property? You took it from my house. That's called theft. You feel me? If I was being charged, I'd be charged with theft. That's from 2011. You are liable for a body attachment. Did nobody get locked up for this? If I would have did it, you would have locked me up. I don't see nobody locked up for stealing my property. And this is sealed from the courts. You feel me? So the corruption in the courts, shielded by the courts. Body attachment mean that somebody supposed to go to jail. I'm the only one that went to jail, and I'm the innocent victim here. That was a subpoena. All right? A subpoena. That's Ken LaRue in Lake County. Because like I said, I went home on vacation and came back on probation. And y'all thought that I was going to let that go. No, you stole my property in Illinois and you stole it in Maryland. Because the movie was about your courts. That's a court order telling you to return my property in Illinois. So like I said, I'm approaching the Supreme Court on a writ of certiorari for my property. You took my property. Constitution say I got a right to property. My intellectual property, my physical property, and you got to give it to me. If not, a writ of certiorari means that we can settle this in court, the United States Supreme Court, under the 13th Amendment. You feel me? That's my lawyer. He got all this from 2009. Now, these are the emails. Like I showed you the forged checks. That's from May of 2008. That says that I don't own the property. If you wrote this in May of 2008, why you cash a check in June of 2008? Proof is in the pudding. And that's the comptroller's office. I asked for an audit. I never got the audit. Received 2008. And it's about Schellenberger. Schellenberger should have did this. Disbar Schellenberger, charge Schellenberger, and Schellenberger gonna snitch. That's your weakest link is Schellenberger. And all this evidence can send Schellenberger to jail. And the Department of Justice got this. Because I was in Illinois. I was locked up in Illinois. Legal mail. Tampering with mail is a federal offense. You got mail to answer. It's the Privacy Act. Like I said, I went to Van Hollen's office. That's Mikulski's office, 2009. Filming a documentary about racism in the Lake County judicial system. Denial of due process and equal protection. I was at your office this morning with the same request, the same issues, and you didn't do nothing. Signed it, dated it, videotaped it, live feed it. It's the Maryland Black Caucus. Maryland Black Caucus, March 2009. She was a member of the Maryland Black Caucus. Judge Boris, lawyers, Mr. Bailey. Yeah, 1402 Lochner. I'm a Baltimore City resident. Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland. Executive Office. Vice Chair. Ain't that Kathleen Pugh of the 40th District? Vice Chair Kathleen Pugh of the 40th District. Like I said, we got a history. And this history goes back to 2009. When you petition your governors, your senators, your congressmen, your representatives to address this issue, and you done nothing, and you had this since 2009, you gave me an award, but you're not doing your job. Mr. Davis, Congressman Dutch Rufusberger, y'all handed off to white supremacy. Like I said when I called you out, white supremacy don't function unless it's permitted with black faces. White supremacy don't exist without black cooperation. This is a prime example of it. Maryland Black Caucus, this was a black issue, so why'd you give it to white people? That's your job. That's Richard McFeely from the FBI. And that's Commissioner Davis and Alan Locks from the Department of Justice. This was my criminal complaint in 2010. That's the governor's office. That's Governor O'Malley, Lieutenant Governor Brown. That's me, Baltimore County Detention Center. The evidence that Governor O'Malley had, he should have turned it over. It says right here, enclosed, you will find the correspondence that you forwarded to my office a year ago. Last year means that you got this in 2010, long before I got locked up. And you permitted them to lock me up because I was exposing your corruption in your courts. That's the DVD. It was marked federal evidence for a federal trial. And that's the federal government. The office of Alan Locks. And they destroyed the evidence. See that? Our office no longer has your file. You destroyed my file. The Department of Justice destroyed my file. And here it is on email. Like I said, book, movie, lawsuit. And everything that I've been telling you is in Governor Hogan's office. Executive, judicial, and legislative branches of our government gave it to you. And that's the movie release. Shows who our voters are voting for. Candidate filing receipt. 2013, Dwayne G. Davis, gubernatorial primary. I ran as a Republican. I'm a black Republican. I ran for lieutenant governor to show that we can hold office, to show that we are important in this community, to show that our voices and votes count. If I ran for office, that means other ex-felons can run for office. You feel me? I am Dred Scott. Email, Kamenetz. Now this is for Al Redmer and Johnny O. This was unresolved. And Kamenetz, since this was unresolved, whoever wins got to deal with this. This goes directly to Kamenetz's office. And he got this in 2016. June of 2016, 2 years ago. And he ain't resolved it yet. My request for Scott Schellenberger to be disbarred. I respectfully ask you to respond. They ain't responded yet. You held me illegally. Remember? You had me at Spring Grove Medical Facility. You did an interview. Ask Adam May to play the whole interview. That was my consent to be videotaped. Now I'm asking for your consents. Because the movie's about our media. Potty training politicians. The media's involved too. That's why I shut your live feeds down. And I'm going to continue to shut your live feeds down. Alright? February 2017. Adam May. I hope this video puts us on the same page. If Adam May don't give me back my 25 pages of my jailhouse diary and my intellectual property, I'm going to shut Adam May down wherever you go. And whenever I file this lawsuit, I'm going to include Adam May in the lawsuit for obstruction of justice, for destroying evidence, for participating in fraud. I am Dred Scott. Do blacks have rights in America which white America respects? Well, 2018, we're about to find out. It's the 13th Amendment. Dinner the movie. See you Friday.